Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, how you doing? It's February 5. It's a Monday, blue sky day in Pittsburgh, PA, and I got an earworm. It's perfectly fine. This one is how usually something gets in your head and it annoys you. This is just whoa, and it comes from having watched the Grammys last night. I got to say this about the Grammys. The Grammys are the only award show that should regularly get an Emmy. They got a lot to work with, obviously. It's just always, not always, but last night I thought in particular was just an incredible show. And I used to say that I only watched it just to catch up or keep up so that these names of the big singers and bands that were out there would actually have flesh on them, that I'd see who these people are, that I'd hear them. But boy, it was a lot of retro, a lot of nostalgia last night. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I enjoyed a lot of the new stuff. I mean, to me, new stuff as well. It was just a women's night. And that was very wonderful and empowering. I don't know how the men felt about it. Barely saw one. It was women, 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 women. And the only negative of that was, I just don't get it. If women are now so powerful, why do they still have to show up and perform half naked? The men do not. The men are clothed. I'm so sick of it. I really am. I don't know what to say. And I don't understand how people don't see how it's such a sexist thing, and that women, even powerful women, play right into it, accept it somehow. I mean, I know they think they're flaunting it and their power, but it's such a double standard. And I don't want it to be that men will start, having to perform in a little more than a jock strap. But I just wish the women would put some clothes on. And the other thing that occurs to me is that pop music now is really the music at times, quite often, I think, is really secondary to the spectacle. And maybe that's why we get half-naked women. But it's production values. Performance trumps music. And I guess that, is what is to be expected when we live in a culture that wants spectacle. Not necessarily content or quality content, but spectacle. And personally, while I can enjoy the spectacle, I miss I miss the music being front and center. I do. But my earworm, fast car, Tracy Chapman. Oh my God, what a delight. There was Tracy Chapman, who pretty much turned her back on that music world, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. And man, she looked fantastic. She sounded fantastic. And she was so clearly having a great time. Best car. My God, the retro stuff. Joni Mitchell. 80 years old. 4 years ago, couldn't speak because of an aneurysm. And to see her back and to see her sing, it was powerful stuff. If you didn't see it, I'm sorry. I really think it was a hell of a show. I can do without Trevor Noah. I want to say that. I find him tiresome, the way he. I think it's a impossible task emceeing something like this. But he's such a, I don't know, such a cheerleading. I don't know. I don't dislike him in general. I just don't like the way he hosts. He annoys me. I want him to go away. Anyway, people who I really didn't know who just blew me away. Billie Eilish. Oh my God. And then another retro, Annie Lennox. Oh my God. It was a great show. Stevie Wonder singing a duet with Tony Bennett. I know he's dead. It was in the in memoriam section, which was just mind-blowingly good. That's why Annie Lennox was there. She was paying tribute to Sinead O'Connor. Unbelievable show. I just want to say. Fantasia, God. Doing Tina Turner proud. Well, she can't do her dancing, but she can, man. I mean, a lot of it. And then I don't know what to say. Incredible. Taylor Swift, who was there, and of course made history, winning more, best albums than anyone in history, including Frank Sinatra and everybody else. I had this thought. She is going to have a fall at some point. You know why? Because this is the way our culture works. It lifts certain people up. It does not take the spotlight from them. So that this is a woman who now commands the attention of all media, almost all the time. And it might have started with her talent putting her in that position, but it's gone way beyond that now. And what do we do culturally and media do? We build them up. We make lots of money off it too. We build them up. And then when we reach a saturation point, we start taking them down. And we make a lot of money doing that too. I feel for her. I don't think there's any way. I know she appears to have her equilibrium. I don't think there's any way to live a life under that kind of scrutiny. Can you imagine? Let's say she and Travis Kelce are actually in love. Can you imagine navigating the first parts of, and maybe your entire coupledom, wherever it leads, under those lights, with all of us watching? How is that even something that, I mean, it is not helpful to them. So I just feel, and we're all part of the crowd. Ooh, there's something so creepy about it. And then she did something last night that put me off. I thought, whoa, am I reaching a saturation level? I also thought of all the egos in that room, because she was made to make her own entrance after everybody else. Well, the egos in that room, the talent in that room, I mean, just immense, off the charts. And then she's given special treatment. She walks in. Now, granted, they did the same for Meryl Streep, but it's not the same. Everybody loves Meryl Streep. Everybody doesn't love Taylor Swift in that room. They envy her. I just, wow. So when she won her first Grammy last night, she got up and did something that I thought was really off-putting. She essentially promoted, she told her fans that she had a surprise for them, that there was a new album coming out, and she was going to post something as soon as she walked off the stage. And so this need for her, I mean, this was a moment where she was supposed to say, thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate this. Wow, the talent I was up against. Yada, yada. Do something gracious and leave. She started by saying, this is my, 15th Grammy. Fine, a little braggadocio. But then to go on and show that what she's about is riding this thing higher and higher and higher. So the minute I saw that, I got worried. I thought, oh, wow, she's crazed with growing it. She ain't big enough. She doesn't have enough money. She doesn't have enough attention. She doesn't have enough. And I'm thinking that that's what happens. This is the beginning of the corruption of her soul. She is all business all the time. She is her brand. And I don't think I'm making too big a thing of this. I think I know how this ends. And that's all. You got a fast car. Anyway, you should watch the Grammys, even if you think I'm too old. I don't know who any of those people are. It's really John Baptiste. Oh God! See, I never heard some of these people, and then at the very end, tears because Celine Dion, who ruled that stage for so long, came out to present Taylor Swift with a historic fourth Grammy. And Celine Dion, as you might know, is battling a horrible disease that has finished her career. She's done. I hope it doesn't. I don't know if it's ultimately kills you, but it's a horrible disease. So, whoa. That was a lot of entertainment last night, and I got so worked up, I sleep much. Fast cars were in my head. Anyway, I hope some of you saw it and enjoyed it. That's all I have to say. Well, that's not all I have to say. Let's be honest. Oh, there was one other thing, moment that I thought was really well done. Oops, I'm sorry. That's me being an idiot. If you heard that, maybe you didn't even hear that. No, of course you didn't. I'm starting to understand how all of this works, and I'm, hopelessly technologically deficient. And dealing here, as I sit here with my phone is part of the apparatus I need to be dealing with, and this computer in front of me is, and I can get, and then I got papers highlighted all over the place and scribbled lists, and I get, flummoxed, bamboozled. Not telling you, but bamboozle, for those of you who do spelling bee. That's just a little gift I just gave you. I think it's why it was in my head. Bamboozle. It's a great word, you have to admit. Oh, but the other moment I wanted to tell you about is that, at that point where obligatorily they have to bring out the head of, like, for the Oscars, the head of the Academy of the Who, and, they say some boring crap and leave. And so they had to introduce the head of the Recording Academy, I believe. His name was Harvey Mason. And wow, he gave, I thought, an incredibly great speech. And he took up the elephant in the room that the other award shows have thus far tiptoed around. The Globes, the Emmys, and I'm talking about Israel and Gaza. And, well, Annie Lennox did, after her extraordinary song, put her fist in the air and say ceasefire or something. But he said, started talking about music, because he's looking at all these amazing music makers and how music is a place that brings all kinds of people together. Music does. It's the universal language. And he said, music must always be our safe place. And he says, and when that safe place is violated, it strikes at the very core of who we humans are. And then he talked about, said the shooting in Paris, you'll recall, in that nightclub in Paris, 89 people who'd gone there to enjoy music were mowed down. He talked about the bombing at the Ariana Grande show in Manchester, where 22 people were killed. He talked about the horror at that Las Vegas shooting that killed 60, massacre. People who were just there because of music. And then he added, people who had gone to hear music in Israel on October. I keep in my head, the date keeps going, October 6th, October 7th, October 6th. It's almost like I'm trying to pull it back. And of course, at that horror, 360 people young people were killed, slaughtered, raped, terrorized. And then a whole bunch of them were, kidnapped, taken hostage. And he said, while he was talking, there was this music playing, quiet music. And he said, music must remain the common ground on which we all stand together in peace and harmony. And then he motioned to the musicians. It was a string quartet. And he said that they were musicians of Palestinian, Israeli, and Arab descent. And they were playing together. It was very powerful. Well done all the way around. If the caller's still there and hasn't given up, hello? They did hang up? Okay. Thank you. I was told they hung up. Well, that's okay. Animal news. Sorry, I know it's not normally that we do animal news, but I had meant to do this story about the monkey that was on the loose in Scotland, because I love these stories. When imprisoned animals break free, I love it. I loved it when the hawk here was on the lam. I think there was a monkey from the zoo here also on the lam at some point. I love it. I am always rooting for him. Anyway, the Scottish monkey's been captured, the snow monkey. And I was unhappy about that. There was a big article about this, the owl that somebody helped get out of the Central Park Zoo a year ago. And it lives in Central Park mostly, although every once in a while, someone in a high rise will, open their curtains and there'll be this astonishingly huge, beautiful owl with orange eyes sitting on their air conditioning unit staring at them. So that owl is, everybody was saying, we don't know if it'll be able to live on its own. It's used to being, not to worry. It's been doing fine, living well. You have to imagine being happier, flying. He's got Manhattan. I'll take Manhattan, Staten Island too. Although there still is. I think they're just going to leave him. I don't think it would be. I don't even know that they're trying to capture him anymore. There is concern that he will, meet an untimely end, which is quite possible, from rat poison that's out all over the place, from a car, who knows what. Anyway, but right now, happy guy. And then there's this hysterical story about the stool pigeon. Well, they thought it was a stool pigeon. He was wrongly accused. This was a pigeon that, believe it or not, was suspected of being a Chinese spy in India. And the cops took him in. It was said that he was in Mumbai near the port, and they said a black pigeon has been caught lurking at the port where international vessels dock. They later, when they got him, said, my God, he has cursive messages in Chinese on his wings. He has a very sensitive microchip, and he had something on his ankle. Well, that was enough for them. And so this poor bird was taken prisoner, and he never got a trial. In fact, they looked at the chip. I mean, it was obvious he was someone's pigeon, a racing pigeon from Taiwan. How the hell he got to Mumbai, they don't know, but they thought he might have gotten on one of the boats. That's why he was hanging out near the port. They never figured out the cursive Chinese writing on his wings, but whatever. He checked out. The rings, the chip, they were just for locating the bird. 8 months he did of wrongful imprisonment. So anyway, he's been released. Finally, God. So that was, I believe that's the animal news. Some things that I saw that I really enjoyed and I want to share. And that is that the largest tribe in South Dakota, that's the Oglala Sioux, the chief of the tribe, which is the Pine, their nation is the Pine Ridge. What horror that land has seen. The Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. He has the chief, who's got the wonderful name of Frank Stars Come Out. I love it. Anyway, he told the idiot governor of the state, one Kristi Noem, that she was not allowed in his nation on their land. And he's got the right to do it. So that is not South Dakota land. That's their land, Sioux land. And he said she is not to step foot in it. I mean, he never liked her to start with, but what really got him furious was her performative crapola about border security. And I guess she made a big to-do about sending razor wire to Texas to cut up some of those immigrants. Oh, my God. I don't watch Saturday Night Live, so I did not see this inclusion of Nikki Haley on it. And I'm glad. I don't know. I don't want to talk about her. Let me say something about another extraordinary woman who I just read about, some unhappy news, and I just wanted to pass it on because she's been such a force. I'm sure she still is, but she apparently has terminal brain cancer. And I just wanted you to know, if you didn't, because I didn't know. And that is Cecile Richards, the brilliant, beautiful, tough head of Planned Parenthood for so long, and such an activist for women. And she's got an inoperable and deadly brain cancer. I mean, she came. I was such a fan. Remember her mom? Her mom was Ann Richards, the governor of Texas back in the day when Texans were smarter. They elected a woman governor and a Democrat governor, Ann Richards. She's the one who famously said, right, about George H.W. Bush, poor George. He was born with a silver foot in his mouth. Ah! Loved her. Man. So there's this article. Where did I see this? You guys up in Butler, have you been to this place? Don't go. It's unbelievable. This got, I guess the Associated Press put this out. And all the idiots and loons, you know, now that people won't get vaccinated, people don't trust doctors. It's the same. It's based on all the idiots out there who think that anybody with any expertise who tells them something is up to no good and should never be listened to. So this article is about how there is this huge industry growing in this country. And this won't be a surprise to you, that markets and makes tons of money on all kinds of unproven cures and treatments. But what they are focusing in on are people who fall for all the conspiracy theories. They are their willing dupes. And turns out the article centers on a place in Butler. Who knew? Used to be a, I don't know, Days Inn or a Holiday Inn. And it's now called the Tesla, nothing to do with the car, Tesla Wellness Hotel and Med Bed Center. Now, med beds, turns out, what do I know, are part of this major conspiracy that the loons all have. I think it's QAnon started, that somehow all the rich people, the people that have power, sleep on what are called med beds. And this is something, I'm telling you this, was developed by the military using alien technology. And the most powerful people sleep on these things. They think that if Trump becomes president again, he's going to make med beds free for all Americans. You can't make this stuff up. So what's a med bed? It's a bed with these canisters stuck underneath them that supposedly contain according to the people, the snake oil salesman, fine naturally active stones and activated fine metal sands and proprietary polymers manufactured with a special technology. And I guess if you put them under your bed, you become, I don't know, healthier, wealthier, and wise. I'm telling you, right up here in Butler, it's not far. You know what it'll cost you to sleep on one of their med beds for the night? Just $300. Uh-huh. In addition, while you're there, you could buy some of the bottled water they sell, which they say is Tennessee spring water imbued with life force energy that increases libido, improves breathing, reduces pain, gives you a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, you name it, it does it. you can get a 24 pack for $150. Now, a 24 pack of the same size of just water at Walmart would cost $4. Can you imagine there are people, they make money off of people who go in there for this nonsense? Wow. Apparently, the Food and Drug Administration has sent a letter to Tesla, MedBed, and told them that they wanted to look into some of what they were claiming. But the reality is that this is an area, as you know, supplements and, snake oil, that is really unregulated. Incredible. Unbelievable. I don't know. I got that, by the way, from WESA. They do good news, and I had missed that, and they sent that over to me because I get their newsletter. You should too. We have a caller. Hello.
Hello, Lynn. It's Dave from Washington.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. I haven't talked to you in a long time.
I know.
You were talking about music earlier on. And, pardon my language, but Frank Zappa once said, music can get you pretty fucked up. And boy, was he right about that. I don't think the women are dressing half naked because they have to. I think they're doing it because they want to, because it sells, because it isn't the music anymore. There's really no music involved. It's, as you said, the spectacle. I am a musician. I'm not very good, but I play guitar. I would rather see a couple real musicians, I don't even care how good they are, playing real musical instruments live in front of an audience instead of this big, huge spectacle, orchestrated dancers, and they don't even have the musicians on stage. Or maybe they do, but I don't know if they're really even playing anything. They're probably just singing. The music you listen to when you're young, in your teenage years, that's the music you're going to listen to for the rest of your life.
Right. That is
so we lucked out. I mean,
yes, we did.
The Beatles just put another song out last month, or a couple of months ago. 60 years later, and we're still talking about the Beatles. You think anybody who's out and about today, with the exception of like maybe Taylor Swift, I don't know, do you think they're going to be talking about any of these people in 60 years? Highly unlikely. Because it's not the music that sticks with you today. It's, like you said, it's the show, the dancing, the hanging from wires, and all that sort of nonsense. That's because the music isn't any good.
Well, it's
so
not.
Do that.
It's just, the music is secondary.
Yeah,
it just is, and that became clear. I'm not saying all of it last night, but the current pop music, that's clearly, it's secondary to the spectacle.
Well, that actually kind of started, you could say that started back in the 80s with MTV and videos, where your video was more important than your music.
Yeah.
So, the hair and the outfits and all that sort of stuff, and then turn into live production. Because if you want to make money now in the music industry, you don't put out records, you don't make any money on records because everybody trades them online. You got to go on tour. You got to put out shows. Right. And, just bigger, louder, not necessarily better, but that's the state of music today, which is why I don't really go to concerts anymore. Mm-hmm. Plus the fact that they're $250 for a ticket. Although Neil Young's going on tour this spring or summer, something like that, and I'll pay $250 to see him.
Yeah, sure.
But other than that,
I'm with you. I just, it's too bad because I'm sure there are people that are making really good music now who aren't into the spectacle. I was thinking, what if you were an amazing musician, but you couldn't dance and you didn't have one of these bodies that you want to, show off? I mean, so you don't make it in this so-called music business because it's not it's a misnomer actually to call it a music business, right?
Yep. And then also a big thing nowadays, and I think it's because there's really no more rock and roll. Rock and roll really did kind of die. It's sad to say, and it was replaced with this hip hop and all of this mass-produced stuff, their heavy production stuff. But you're also seeing a really big wave. They call it Americana or alt country.
Yes.
Bluegrass bands, the jam, in the jam band mold. And I think a lot of that is a blowback against the hip hop pop nonsense that's out there. Because these guys are real musicians. Look at a guy named Billy Strings. You got Clark. You got the whole bunch of guys, blues and Americana stuff, and those guys are darn good. So there's I have to tell you, I was watching one of the greatest documentaries of all time the other night, which is When We Were Kings, which is a documentary about the Ali Foreman Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah, I remember that.
What an I've seen it 3 times, but I watched it again the other night and was blown away. But in that, there are performances by B.B. King that you could die. And by James Brown, you could die. Brown. Now, they were performers as well as great musicians.
Absolutely. Whenever I think of James Brown, I think of the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
Where he's I'll tell you what, I would go to that church. People literally dancing in the streets. That's a church I would definitely go to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it. Hey, I wanted to tell you one other thing. And I mentioned this to you when I caught you a long time ago. I've lost a bunch of weight. I've lost 125 pounds.
Whoa!
That's my bartender. My bartender, a little girl named Marie, she only weighs 115 pounds. I lost my bartender. Diet and exercise.
Diet and exercise. How long? And you did it slowly over a year or so?
Yeah. It took me about 2 years to hit 115. And I'm still going. It took me about 2 years to get there. And I did it nice and slowly. And again, no surgery, none of these pills, nothing like that. I just did it, diet and exercise, the damn treadmill. And I get to, this is another thing that's kind of interesting. I listen to audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks at the gym rather than music, because music is too much like watching the clock. Whereas an audiobook, I'm actually engaged. And a couple months ago on NPR, I just caught the very tail end of some book review, blah, blah, blah. So I went and found it in my library. Audiobook, burned it onto my computer, and then I put it on my phone. I listened to 35-minute segments. That's 2 miles on the treadmill. And it turns out it's this new movie that's coming out. The Boys in the Boat. Maybe you've seen ads for it. It's a George Clooney movie, so it's probably going to be really good.
Yes.
It's about so just I happen to be listening to that, and it is a very good book. And when the movie comes out, I'm going to have to go see the movie, I suppose.
Well, good for you. That is just such great news. Good for you.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
In fact,
it must feel wonderful.
In fact, I had a physical, and they sent me for an echocardiogram because my pulse rate is too low. Pulse rate should be between 60 and 80. Mine was 45. So they sent me out for a bunch of tests to make sure that everything was okay, and everything came back. They said, you're fine. Just got a low pulse rate. So, all right, that's good.
Isn't that wonderful? Thank you. Love
Thank you.
Big smile on my face. Okay.
I'll talk to you again soon.
Bye. Aw, wow. Easy writes, hope you're enjoying these sunny days. Oh, my God. I didn't watch the Grammys last night, but after reading about it, I wish I had. I did see a video of Tracy Chapman's performance. And Fast Car is my earworm today, too. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, it was just wonderful. It was just wonderful. Now, that is somebody who was about just her guitar, her voice, her music. That's it. Oh. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The neatest thing I read about was the space parasol. Did you see that? The space umbrella? This used to be considered a cool, just ridiculous. You got to be kidding me. It's a global warming cure that a lot of scientists are now saying, no, we're serious. We're serious. This could be a big help, that you deploy essentially these huge screens, sunshades, directly in between the sun. They know exactly where they put it. The sun and Earth, and it'd be a shade. And it would take out, 2%, they say, if they just managed to take out 2% of the sun's radiation, that would be enough to cool the Earth back to a manageable place. And there's all kinds of, serious scientists trying to figure out how to do this. The rub is the cost. Because a shade big enough to do what it'd have to be, the size of it is ridiculous, like 1 million square miles. So it would have to be deployed in little bits and then somehow brought together. And it would weigh a ton. So, yeah, it has to be smaller shades put together. They wouldn't completely block the sun, but they would it would make it a slightly diffused light that is coming onto the Earth. And it could help stabilize the climate while we continue all the other things we're doing to help the effort. The only reason, I was so into this as I was reading this. One guy even published a paper that suggested tethering a big solar shield to an asteroid. I kid you not. Whoa! And there's a group in Israel that is right now making a prototype. And they need like $20 million just to fund the prototype and then the demonstration of getting it into space and seeing how it would work. And they're saying that'll take at least 3 years. Well, if that'll take 3 years, what the hell would it take? It seems to me the Earth will have blown up by then. I don't understand it. So it takes too long. And the cost is astronomical, as it should be. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and obviously would have to be picked up by all the countries of the world, or many of them. So whatever. Just wanted to tell you that. Giant umbrella in space. And they're saying, don't laugh. This is a reasonable idea. It's just really expensive. Okay. So keep seeing all this amazing news about excuse me, I'm sorry. What amazing news, Cullen? Come on, this is what happens. I can't multitask. See, as I was talking, I was picking up some information, and I can't, I have an old-fashioned brain that focuses on one thing at a time. All this news about the economy just going gangbusters. 60 Minutes had Powell on last night, and he could barely retain his glee and astonishment because, forecasters, these economic forecasters, all over the globe and here have been blown away by the remarkable strength of the American economy. And our economy is going gangbusters compared to any other advanced economy on Earth. Now, I bring this up, first of all, because you got to wonder how Biden isn't getting credit for this. And part of it is because, it's because people pay attention to how much does my milk cost? How much do my eggs cost? They ain't looking at this bigger picture. And grocery prices are stubbornly staying high when everything else has been going down. So, you know what Biden's going to do? Here's what he said to a crowd in South Carolina, I think, earlier this week. There are too many corporations in this country ripping people off. Price gouging. Greedflation, he called it. And apparently this is something he's going to be doing on the campaign trail. He's going after grocery chains. Hey, John Eagle, you hearing this? The president is going to be gunning for you, grocery chains and other companies that are maintaining these higher than usual profit margins, which they got when inflation was high as hell. And they're riding, they've refused to bring, they're pocketing stuff they should be passing on to the consumer. And it's because grocery prices are the things that affect Americans' perceptions of the economy. And in reality, there's not much Biden can do except call it out. There's not unlike some people, he ain't a dictator who can just say, want those prices down tomorrow. But little things are happening. It's expected that the Federal Trade Commission is going to block that merger between Kroger and Albertsons, two of the largest grocery store chains in the country, which would want to get together and make even a bigger, this is monopolistic. This is monopolies keep prices high. There's no competition, right? And so the president said this down there in South Carolina, and I love it. Said a lot of things. You see what he called in the privacy of the White House, he called Trump a sick fuck. Ah! Can't disagree. But here's Biden talking to the folks in South Carolina. He said, hey, Americans, we're tired of being played for suckers like med beds. We're tired of being played for suckers. And that's why we're going to keep at these guys and we're going to get these prices down. I hope he can. Speaking of food prices, I'm a regular donor to the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank, which is an amazing operation. That's why I happily donate to them. That's an amazing place if you've never been there. It's in Duquesne. Anyway, I got there I get updated about things. Listen to this. During the first half of the current fiscal year, the Pittsburgh Food Bank distributed 21 million pounds of food, which will put them on track for a record high in their more than 40-year history of just pure tonnage of food in a year. And of that 21 million pounds, this is the extraordinary thing. It wasn't cans. 58% of it was fresh food. Now that also includes, frozen meats and dairy and non-meat proteins. They put that, but that tons of vegetable matter. Produce alone accounted for 36% of it. That is, and what's happened is because if you donate to them, they not only get food with it, but they have improved their facility. So they have these huge refrigeration capacity there. And a lot of other stuff. I'm just saying, if sometimes people don't know where to put their money. There is no better place than the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. I will give to them till the day I die. So, I just want to say this, though. When experts say this and experts say that, they were saying this was going to be a painful year economically, or last year was supposed to be. Oh, we were going into a recession, yada, 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 yada. Everybody, all the geniuses said it. The people we're supposed to listen to. They were all wrong. I just want to point that out. And so why do we listen to them? I'd like to know. I'm serious. They don't apologize. They just come back like the weatherman, They come back and just start throwing like their Punxsutawney Phil. And they don't know. They might as well kill a chicken and cut it open and divine its entrails to figure it out. Here's one of them, willing to be honest. The broad lesson, which we never seem to learn, is that it's very hard to forecast things. And we shouldn't be too confident, and especially when there's a very weird historic event going on, like a pandemic. Okay, so and the thing is, they then have this herd mentality, right? They all come together and they're agreeing with each other, and we're supposed to, little old us are supposed to believe it. I was on the phone with the people who have whatever money I've got. These are bankers, and we were talking, and they were telling me what their prognostications were for the coming year. And I just sit there with my eyes rolling around in my head. It's just blah, 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 blah. And at one point, this guy who's mumbling in my ear says something about, and of course there's AI. And AI is going to be a game changer, and AI is really going to pump things up. And I said, AI is going to take your job. I mean, if his job is crunching numbers and making predictions, and he's like, oh, an AI, great stuff. Well, it's going to take your job and do it better than you did. People are so dumb. Just saying. All right. That's it for me, I think, almost. I got so much other stuff here, but it'll wait. So Susan will be coming on the show, I think, tomorrow, and we'll figure out how to further entertain you, because that's what it's all about. Entertainment. I got a fast car. Oh, I wish I could sing. Anyway, that's it for me. Toodaloo. Enjoy this weather.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.